2023 is definitely the year for MMOs and ARPGs. There's so much exciting stuff going on this year, and I'm so happy. We have Dragonflight in a couple of days. We have Diablo 4 in the near future. Path of Exile 2 beta in July in the new Exicon, and maybe by the end of the year we got an open beta. Then we have Ashes of Creation, which is looking promising. The RIOT MMO, which is not going to be released, obviously, but we're gonna learn a lot more about that. It's going to be insane. So, I wanted to talk about 5 things I'm hoping for as a player in relation to all these upcoming games. So, let's dive in. Most MMOs and even ARPGs shares the same formula for questing. Basically, you enter a new town by following the main storyline, and everyone there has a yellow hat shaped as an exclamation mark. You accept every single one of them without reading shit, and you go out to complete those tiny fractions in the UI. Once they have a tick, become gray, or change into an interrogation sign, you go back in town to receive negligent XP, shitty potions, and a blue item that you out-leveled 2 quests ago. And you repeat this forever until you reach the endgame, where they change to another random color, green or purple, and for some reason the NPC always forget that you already helped them a week ago. The only game I've played that has innovated this in 20 years was Guild Wars 2 in 2012. Yes, that was 10 years ago. Let that sink in.
All my bones hurt and my regrets.
And I don't really understand why nobody else tries to copy at least in some way. In case you are not familiar with Guild Wars 2 questing system, the game has missions like defending a camp or gathering some herbs or killing X amount of mobs like any other MMO. But the innovating part is that you don't need to talk or accept any quests. They all work visually or by sound. The gist of it is basically instead of finding a farmer with an exclamation mark and a block of text that is telling you that a lot of thieves are destroying their fields, what you actually find as soon as you enter the zone is the farmer running at you screaming like, "Help! Help please! Oh, those pesky thieves destroying my life's work! Please help us!" And you can see the fire in the background and the thieves destroying the crops. And you can help him right here and there without accepting any UI contract. You kill the mobs or you leave. In the minimap you can see the quest area, and you can also check the current progress of that quest chain. And this feels so smooth while playing. It makes you feel like the world is living and breathing. That's why the creators have called this system the living world. You don't need to stop and backtrack through towns every single time. You can just enjoy walking around. I want more systems like this or new ones. Please. It's been 20 years. There are a dozen videos talking about this on YouTube, so I don't want this one to be an hour long. So, let's move on. Skill trees. They are quintessential to any other game in today's standards, but even more so for RPGs. It's the game's way of telling you, look, this is the path your character could go in terms of progression, both from a power point of view as well as gameplay or aesthetic. From my point of view, there are 2 variables that determine if a skill tree is gonna be good or not. One is quantity and the other is quality. There are a lot more like acquisition or opportunity cost, but I want to keep things simple. Quantity is easy to understand. More nodes means more choices, and more choices means more customization. But this is only true if resources are limited and options have value. One thing I see a lot while looking at skill trees is the lack of quality of the nodes. There is clear focus in designing them around damage over everything else, which I find honestly quite boring and in some cases even lazy. Sure, raising your numbers is one of the most sought out progressions in any MMO, but I don't think the skill tree should be the place to scale this by adding flat or percentage damage all over the place. I prefer to leave that in the gear side of things. If you need to give me 50% damage in order to balance my class, I would just prefer if you buff everything by 50% and leave that slow open in the skill tree for interesting ideas around gameplay over numbers. For example, I prefer a node that gives me a chance to double cast a fireball or provide me a chance to channel it in order to increase its damage, instead of other nodes that give me 30% more damage with fire skills, for example. Of course, they don't work the same way, the balance is completely different, projectiles have diminishing returns, and so on. But the point here is that one is fun and the other not so much. More fun, please. There is a reason why whenever you hear that someone died in the news, you turn off your TV. The main reason is that your mother fell asleep. Because who the fuck watches TV today? What are you, a fucking dinosaur? The second one could be that you really don't care about someone you have never met before. I mean, you know it's something bad, but it doesn't affect you.
Yes, it does.
Who the fuck said that?
I care about people all the time.
Really? Could you remember if I said that the person died or nearly died 5 seconds ago?
What?
Exactly. Having a connection is key, and connections are made by the sense of wonder, experience, or both. We have a great example of what wonder can do with the new MMO from RIOT Games. We don't know a single thing about this game. Nothing. Nothing. But everyone is hype as fuck, me included. Why? Because we know a lot about the lore and the world where everything will be taking place. Thanks to this guy. There is an insane potential to discover things that we are familiar with, and that drive our interest. Could I find Darius while exploring Noxus? Could I walk over the bridge where this scene of Arcane happened? If I step on a mushroom and died while taking a walk in the forest, could I be close to Vandal City? That feeling of what's there to find is what breathes life into the world. If you're close to 30 or more, you remember the launch of World of Warcraft. Everyone who played Warcraft 3 back in the day couldn't wait to find Arthas over there, somewhere, or take a walk through Stratholme, or see Jaina's tits up close. That was not me. What frustrates me the most is when developers talk about how their game is absolutely massive and open and ready to explore without presenting a single reason why. Why do I want to explore? What's there to find? A good analogy could be a chef telling you that the plate is huge, but you don't know if the plate has good food or dog shit food. I prefer to have a small plate with great food than the fucking bowl like this full of shit. Having a large world to explore where there's a lot of things going on is always good if the content within that space is actually good. If not, it's just a waste of space. If I see a mountain in the distance and I go there out of excitement, but then there's nothing there, the next time you present something similar to me, I will not care. You can create a massive world with thousands of mountains and I will not care either. On a similar topic, I can endure retrieving your 10 dumb as fuck sheep within a side quest if I just trick myself into thinking of a better future where I get to kill a fucking Lich King. But if that future is not presented to me before the grind, I will find no reason to do it. So I want to see MMOs put a lot more effort into creating a world interesting and exciting before showing anything else. Show us a reason why we should care. There are two ways art direction is approaching media. This is true for art, movies, and even video games. Those directions are stylized and realistic. Don't confuse them with realism and fantasy. A dragon is a fantasy creature, but it can be done realistically within the boundaries of its own universe. Here we talk about realism in a sense of how close depictions are to the real world, visually. Games that focus on this direction usually achieve this by applying the most advanced and technologically available systems at the time. Today, that will be Unreal Engine 5, for example. While this is a great way of getting some attention by novelty, they tend to age really fast. This is not an issue for single-player games or any other genre that has low life expectancies, where 95% of the revenue comes from selling the game on release and the rest a couple of years later. But in the case of MMOs and ARPGs, they are not only expected to last decades and outlive technology cycles, they also need to keep you actively playing, that's what I mean, playing. If I wanted to play a game because it looks good, I would choose the latest one that came out rather than something that came 5 years ago, because most of the time they tend to look worse and worse as time goes on. And then there is another issue with the realistic approach in MMOs that doesn't happen to any other genre that I know of. And they tend to look kind of generic and bland. Let's do a test. Could you figure out which games are these? They look kinda the same. Stylized art, in the other hand, is knowing the rules that bound reality and purposely break them in an artistic endeavor. This requires more creativity and a keen eye for visual communication, but the end result most of the time is extremely timeless. They have personality and are a lot more recognizable. There is a great video from Lines in Motion that goes in depth about this topic. I will leave you in the comments below. It's amazing, check it out please. Now, going back, both World of Warcraft and League of Legends are great examples of stylized games, and there is no wonder why they aged so well. They have more than 10 years and they look great. Obviously they update textures and assets, but their identity have remained the same throughout time. I would love to see more MMOs and ARPGs with an stylized art direction. Could you imagine something like Ori and the Blind Forest art direction for an MMO? It will be amazing, expensive but amazing. Oh shit, this is gonna be a rant. Have you ever heard the phrase,
wait until you reach endgame?
just wait, once you get there, oh, it's gonna be great. I almost never do, because in my group of friends, I'm usually the only one that reached the endgame. Most of them quit way before that. And it's not because I enjoy the process, it's because I've been playing MMOs and ARPGs for almost 25 years and I've mastered like an ascendant demigod the art of numbing myself through the leveling phase. I'm a fiend made out of coffee and fucking sheer will that pushes through while being supported by a movie or Twitch.tv on the second monitor. And I do this because once I'm there, I'm having a lot of fun, but the process getting there is getting more annoying by the minute. Some companies design the game this way because they are incompetent, and others, they just want to sell you a character boost. They create a problem in order to sell you the solution. And I don't care which one is it. I'm tired of seeing this one again and again and again and again. Stop it with excuses. Having amazing revenue and making a great game are not mutually exclusive. All players experience the beginning of the game, but less than 20% reach the end game. So you're basically spending a lot of resources, time, and creativity in content that most of them will never see. And that is objectively terrible. The journey has to be as much fun as the destination. Most games treat the early and mid game like a task you have to do in order to gain access to the good part. Pero qué pedazo de hijo de puta. I've already done the task. It's called work. I do this on a daily basis in order to get money and buy your game to have fun. You shouldn't be charging me again by selling my own time. That is morally shameless. Why would I care about your game when others give me the good stuff right from the beginning? I think the gaming community will benefit a lot if companies start building their game from small steps, checking how the process goes from the start. You build a game from level 1 to level 20, check if it's fun. If it's fun, you go from 20 to 40, check again, to 40 to 60, check again, and so on until you reach the end game. And then you go wild. With a good base, then you can start adding up things on top. That's healthier. If players are happy and engaged, they will spend a lot more money in the long run. Happy players make good revenue. Obviously, I have to clarify, I'm not naive. I know they can make way more money by milking the players. Milking with the let's go whaling mechanic. Oh, that $30 skin. Oh, that's a character boost. Oh, that sword is black instead of gray? Come on! I'm just not going to support that, that's all. There is a great video from Josh Strife about the subject. Okay, we're coming to the end. Last part, honorable mentions.
Number 1.
I want to see more high-level mobs in low-level zones like Styges that roams Darkshire in World of Warcraft, for example. It makes you feel like a small scrub in a large and dangerous world. It creates expectations for the future and a willingness to become stronger, and I will push that even further. I want to see a game where over here you have people level 10 who are struggling to kill some ooze with a rusted sword, and on the other side there is a meteor and they are all corrupted by an eldritch horror and they are level 50, for example. Imagine if every zone in the game has high level and low level players. It will give a lot of replayability to the zones if enough content is created within them. It's not just reusing content, obviously. And I want to be that low-level character looking at the other side and see all the other guys geared up with an amazing set and a lot of skills and saying like, oh, I want to be that strong someday. And then when I reach that endgame and I'm on the other side, I just want to look at all the sprouts and remember I was one of them. Knowing myself though, I will just try to aggro my mobs into their zone. That would be hilarious.
Number 2.
Lower damage numbers. Please pick a range and try to stay within that from start to finish. A new expansion came out. Offer a new story, cosmetics that can be found within dungeons and raids, and new skills and classes. But there is no reason to bust numbers again and again and again and again. Sooner or later you will have to bring them down again, or be like Diablo 3. Yikes.
Number 3.
Self-induced annoyance and gold sync systems. If you have durability in your armor and the cost to repair it is negligent, just remove it. It just makes players waste time and provide nothing useful.
Number 4.
Stop talking about creating your own story. At this point, it's a living meme. If I wanted to do that or was smart enough, I would just be writing my own book or creating my own game. And then the choices your game provides are most of the time useless and pointless. It reminds me the end of the Mass Effect trilogy with the different colors, and that's just sad. Be creative and write a good story for your game, don't be a lazy bastard.
Number 5.
Give me asymmetric looking gear, shoulder pads, leggings, boots. I want to see asymmetric stuff. Asymmetric is cooler. That's a fact. Nah. It's okay. For today, that's fine. If for some miracle you are still watching, thank you so much. I know retention is very difficult within small channels and even new ones like mine. So I truly appreciate your time. I'm not gonna ask for likes or shares, but I'm honestly just curious about what you think about all these topics because it's been a long video. So if you leave a comment in the section below, I will respond 100% so we can discuss there even further. So see you in the next one. Un abrazo.